recovery.
All right, guys, I want to remind everybody that you can say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 that you can use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. You guys just have to visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to bet on college hoops until they cut the nets down.
We got a ticket today yet?
We do have a ticket today, and it comes from our boy Darren Smith.
What up,
he
Darren?
had Page over 25.5. He had Indiana money line. He had the Caitlin Clark over 7.5 total rebounds. UCLA money line, USC money line, and the Gonzaga money line.
He turned $25 into $300. Shout out to Darren. He's in Vegas covering fights this weekend. He texted me yesterday. He was watching the show while packing. So that is a true A1 fan. We appreciate you, Darren. Let's get into this stuff today, though, guys. Andrew Berry at the NFL annual meeting said that Nick Chubb is taking the next step from recovery to getting back on the field. He's going from his conditioning rehab into pre-football activity rehab and should be running, sprinting, and doing agility drills here in the next few weeks. He did not guarantee and refused to say whether or not he believes Nick Chubb will be on the field for the Cleveland Browns in Week 1. But Tyvis, hearing Andrew Berry give us a positive prognosis on Nick Chubb's rehab, how does that make you feel about number 24 status for their Week 1 game against whoever said opponent will be?
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to come close. That's what it makes me think. If he's transitioning to more football-oriented drills, that's kind of like the step right before you get back to full speed. So that tells me he's got a shot to be out there game 1. If this is in Brazil, which we'll find out tomorrow.
Thursday, they make the announcement.
We'll find out tomorrow or not. So I like it. Obviously, nobody expected anything differently with Nick Chubb being the guy that he is. He's going to work hard, and it's probably his mission to try to be back for that first game. So it just speaks volumes to the guy, who he is, and how serious he's taking this recovery process. And I salute him for doing that, because with that injury, it's a lot of people that it could go left. You could think, man, maybe my career is over. But he's like, nah, I'm not about to let that be my last carry. That's not about to be how people going to remember me. So I respect him for going out there and trying to get back for Week 1 to help this team.
G. Bush.
Man, sometimes I'll have to just reiterate how devastating these injuries is. Like, I've torn my ACL and I tore my MCL and then my patellar tendon and all these other, I've had so many knee surgeries that there's a lot of people don't understand that what it entails with that injury. Like, there's people who've never had knee injuries, and you've never felt what it feels like for them to put like a 6-7 inch needle in your knee and drain fluid off your knee like every day. And then for them to drain it, and then you got to go practice, and they got to drain it again because you just the wear and tear on it, right? Just the amount of excruciating pain you were in, just them getting the degrees back, the bending ability, flexibility back in your knee. And sometimes if they don't get it, they hold you down and make that knee go that far and hyperextend. So it's just like crazy, the amount of pain and the time it takes. And then it also takes like it just kills you mentally. Like, it's a burden, because now when you come back, when you're walking, every single time you think about making a cut, every single time you think about transitioning from one leg to the other, if you're jumping or you're running or whatever you're doing, accelerating, it's in the back of your mind. Am I straight? Am I cool? Is everything going to be all right with my knee? And so a lot of people, when they talk about Nick Chubb, Nick Chubb's a beast, he'll come back. Man, never take that for granted. I know Nick Chubb ain't taking it for granted, because, there's a long process right now. And there's even a longer process to get him to be football stuff.
Yep.
You could be in one little period for a long period of time, right? Like, he's moved past to just getting, back acclimated to walking and running in straight lines. But now's the big brunt of the issue. Can you cut comfortably? Can you run somebody over? Can you take a hit on that knee? Like, you think about it, a running back ends every single play on the ground or in the end zone.
Yep.
There's no other in between. You either get tackled or you don't. And so, for me, I don't take it for granted. I want to see him come back and do his thing. I just hope the Browns slow play it. Give him all the time he needs. If it needs to take 4 or 5 games, that's fine too.
When I look at the Nick Chubb situation, anytime we get any news, anything that's not a setback is a step forward for Nick Chubb. And I'm approaching everything we get in that vein. He's going from conditioning to pre-football activity. This is pre-football activity. Prior to being able to play football, as G mentioned, these are sprints and agility drills, straight line stuff. You can't walk without crawling. You can't run without walking. Nick Chubb can't play football without knowing he can sprint and stop and start on a dime. We'll get to the football activities later, but in terms of the rehab process, this is the next step we needed to hear from Nick Chubb. It's a positive step in the right direction to seeing 24 back on the field. And unlike normal ACL tears, guys, he tore all 3 ligaments in his knee.
Crazy.
We call Nick Chubb Batman, and he very well may be a superhero, but he's not actually Batman. You know what I'm saying? You've seen Christian Bale fall off a building, get up and walk himself away, dust himself off, and fight 7 more bad guys 3 minutes later in the movie. As great as the Dark Knight series is, Nick Chubb is a superhuman and recovers way faster than the normal person, but he's not actually Batman. So as long as he's taking the necessary steps towards getting back on the field, every ounce of information we get from Andrew Berry, from Kevin Stefanski, from anyone in that organization regarding 24's recovery is great news. And to G's point, if it takes him 4 or 5 weeks into the regular season to be healthy, give me 12 games of 100% healthy Nick Chubb over 17 games of 70% healthy Nick Chubb, because come playoff time, that's when I think the Browns are going to need 24 the most, and making sure he is as healthy as humanly possible for that late December, January, and hopefully February, March. Getting him ready for that stretch is more important than having him on the field on some first weekend or second weekend, whatever it is, in September.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm putting on G. Bush's PUP list. These are guys that are not going to be playing during the playoffs, or during the preseason.
Yeah, Nick Chubb should not see a single touch in the
He
preseason.
won't.
He's not.
He hasn't played in the preseason anyway.
I don't want to see. I'll add a player a week. I've already told you Deshaun Watson ain't playing.
And you already said you was crazy for saying
he's
that.
0 for 1 on
Stop
Deshaun.
that.
He's 1 for 2 with
Deshaun
Chubb
Watson
now.
is not playing.
You crazy.